When we looked at the culture, the kind of company that we aspire to be a part of, we did this activity of studying some of the best companies on the planet and what is the meaning of their culture. How do they codify the culture? We all together came out with 5 core values which define the culture at SAFe. The first, you always put the customer at the heart of everything you do. In other words, you're always customer first. The second, you go ahead and get the highest ever talent density along with the highest talent diversity. A lot of people might think of this as 1 and 2. I actually look at them as 2 sides of the same coin. When you have the smartest people, you have the happiest customers. When you have the happiest customers, you automatically have the smartest people. But that's number 1 and number 2. Number 3, you make them work together in an environment of candor. In an environment where people don't have to think before they speak. We even made a 5A framework. While giving feedback, positive or constructive, what do you do? While receiving feedback, what do you do? There's a deck on that. Again, as you can see by now, there's a lot of decks that we create that you would be able to see and understand how do we treat candor. There have been countless number of hours of trainings that have been given to various people across the organization to go ahead and ensure that we have the right understanding of what is the meaning of candor, starting from adapting culturally because we work across geographies, and then constructively saying how can you aim to assist and what can be the action while giving the feedback, and while receiving the feedback, you always start with appreciation and then you accept or discard. So that's the candor element of how candid you can be about your thoughts, good, bad, or ugly. But candor itself is not good enough when you are not seeing or you do not have the visibility of how the company really operates. So the 4th value is about how we are so uncomfortably transparent. And we intentionally added the word uncomfortably transparent. The easiest thing to do in a culture is to share numbers when they've already happened and when it's already been shared with the public, with the board, etc., etc. And then a lot of employees come to know about the actual mechanics of how the company is operating. Generally, there is this club at the top of a company which is internally discussing what is in the best interest of the company and going ahead and providing insights and taking core decisions. That's not transparency. What we did on the other side, when you talk about a culture of uncomfortable transparency, we have various things to prove, data-backed, of how uncomfortably transparent we are. When you look at our Slack channels, they are public for the internal employees to join in. My own e-staff channel, where every leader who reports into me posts their red, amber, green, what matters to them, what's on top of their mind on a weekly basis on every Monday, that's publicly viewable by every single employee in the organization using Slack. As if that was not enough transparency, we do weekly town halls where we set the context of what's going on well, what can be done better, so that people understand why we are doing what we are doing, and at the same time discuss very openly the good, bad, and ugly, the places where people are concerned, and at the same time very, very excited about the progress that we are making. When you talk about being uncomfortably transparent, our calendars are available for all internal employees to view so that the collaboration can go up multifold versus calendars which are blocked in most companies because you don't know what the person who you're trying to reach to is up to as we speak. I often get calls when I'm boarding a flight, oh, looks like you've boarded the flight. And initially when we did this, it was such an awkward feeling. It's almost like, hey, hold on, are you watching me from somewhere? But I've got used to it. And I wouldn't want to build a company in any other way than the way we have as our culture. But just getting candor and transparency is not enough when you have the highest talent density ever and a customer-focused culture. The fifth, and without a doubt the most important point, which I can even go to the point of saying is the summary of all of our culture, is the point of autonomy and accountability. When you hire great people because of corporate rules, because of rules that are defined by people who don't even know them, or generalize the kind of frameworks in which you're expected to behave while you work in a particular environment, the autonomy is crubbed. The autonomy, the wings for a bird to fly are clipped off. We don't believe in that. We know it's detrimental for individuals, especially for talent individuals, to be crubbed by stupid corporate politics or rules and regulations which really don't need to be there if you are a responsible and smart enough individual. As a company, we don't have any travel vacation policy. You can take as many vacations as you want. We don't have any policies of going ahead and getting your travel and expenses reimbursed. You can get whatever you think is in the best interest of the company that you're acting reimbursed while you're going out with a customer or you're doing an internal meeting. There are no policies to go ahead and tell you how many hours you need to be working. There's no tracking of when did you log in and when did you log out, or why did you take so many leaves. There's nobody who tracks how many leaves you take. But with that degree of autonomy comes a lot of accountability. When you go ahead and commit in the form of your OKRs, objective and key results, of what would you deliver in a particular quarter, what is expected out of you is to nail that and give everything that you've got to really get that objective and key result across the finish line. And to do that, you don't have any constraints. And that, for me, out of all the five, is without a doubt my favorite value. Autonomy and accountability, and really is the summary of what we have as a culture in SAFE. And I cannot be more happy and proud of what we've been able to build. The kind of numbers, whether it's 350 to 400% year-over-year growth, whether it's 110% net retention, whether it's a 91% gross retention, whether it's a 6% attrition rate that we've got, whether our stock price going up 40x in the last couple of years, all of that is a byproduct of the culture that we eat, sleep, drink, talk, walk. And that, to me, is the real differentiator of our company. Everything else are byproduct. Use cases will come and go. What will not change is the culture through which we deliver the use cases. And that's what makes me so happy and so incredibly proud. And I know you've seen the culture deck already. It's a small culture deck with only 102 slides. It keeps changing because it's evolving, so probably by the time you're listening to this, it would have changed. But it talks about how sincere we are about the culture that we are building here. We not only aspire to become the world's most impactful cybersecurity, data science, cyber insurance, AI, and SaaS company, but we also aspire to get there in the right way, in the way of freedom and responsibility, in the way of autonomy and accountability, in a way that can create an ecosystem of companies and startups that tomorrow understand that to get to great heights, there is a culture of family, of being together and still being very, very, very high performance driven. And that's something that we feel extremely gratified and at the same time proud about.